Welcome back to Strayatrains. It's November, and that means one thing. The Victorian state election is right around the corner. No doubt public transport has been one of the most important issues heading into the 2022 election. In this video, we're going to outline what both major parties, being the Victorian Labor Party and the Victorian Liberal Party, have announced in terms of rail proposals, such as level crossing removals and line extensions. Hope you enjoy the video.
This is a service to
Strayatrains.
stopping all stations direct to
Strayatrains. First up, let's take a look at level crossing removal plans from each party. No doubt it has been one of the cornerstone policies powering Daniel Andrews' premiership over the state over the last few terms. But what's in store for the next few years of level crossing removals? Let's start off with the southeast on the Frankston Line. On October 2022, Labor announced that the Frankston Line would be level crossing free by the year of 2029, meaning all 27 crossings will be removed by then, and that led to them announcing the final 9 level crossing removals, ranging from Heights Station all the way to Seaford. They also announced that new stations would be rebuilt at Hyatt, Parkdale, Mordialloc, Aspendale and Seaford, predominantly by Skyrail. However, the interesting station has to no doubt be Mordialloc Station, being the nearby yards on the down end, creating rather interesting complications when removing the level crossings on both sides of the platforms. However, Labor said by removing the McDonald Street level crossing, it will allow the nearby Bear Street to be eventually closed so the rail bridge can return to ground before the stabling yards near Mordialloc Station. Based off this, I assume the new Mordialloc Station will be relocated in slightly to the up direction on the Frankston Line, just based on what they said. Now, yes, that was all Labor's promises with the Frankston Line level crossing removals. The Liberals have only agreed to match 3 of those level crossings, being both near Heights Station and Warrigal Road at Mentone. However, the Liberals have planned a proposal to do a little bit more with the Frankston Line, which we'll check out later on in the video. Now let's head up north to the Sunbury Line, which Labor has promised to be level crossing free up to Sydenham by the year of 2025, but that does include other level crossings to be gone further down the line, including Gap Road, which is currently being built at the time of making this video. Whilst we're up north, let's head now to the Upfield Line, where Labor announced in September 2022 that an additional 8 level crossings will be removed by the year of 2027 on the Upfield Line. A total of 7 in Brunswick, and the 8th one being in the suburb of Parkville. They also said that this would mean from the suburb of Parkville to Coburg, the line will be entirely level crossing free upon completion of this project. It would also mean that a new bike path will be formed from Bell Street to Park Street, and it will be named the Upfield Bike Path. Whilst the Liberals have not announced any plans for the Upfield and Sunbury Line level crossing removals, they did announce that they plan on removing the level crossing at Diamond Creek on the Hurstbridge Line and 3 level crossings on the Glen Waverley Line, the first being one of the last tram squares left on our network at Kooyong Station, plus an additional 2, one being Taronga Station and one being Glen Iris. Whilst they weren't too clear on how the level crossing will be grade separated, going based off previous plans, they tend to lead towards the trenches as they claim they are a cheaper and safer option. But to be clear, I'm not 100% sure as they haven't announced what they're doing yet, so this is just a speculation. Whilst it is clear that level crossing removals will always be known as Labor, line extensions, however, are something Liberals are trying to get their name under, as in this section we're going to take a look at the Liberals who have made a lot more announcements regarding line extensions and electrifications in comparison to Labor. The first proposal we are going to look at is the Cranbourne to Clyde line extension. Announced in October 2022 by the Liberal Party, the proposal will add 2 additional stations on our network in Cranbourne East and of course its new terminus, Clyde Station. In addition, the project includes 6 what would otherwise be level crossings grade separated before the line even opens, as there is old disused track and level crossings in place currently. And finally, the project will also include an upgraded Cranbourne station, which is already going to be rebuilt due to the Cams Road level crossing removal. Also something to consider, whilst not announced in this current proposal, The Liberals did mention that if this project was to take place, this could potentially set up a future proposal to extend the line as far as Coowee Rup. Next up, the Liberals propose a Frankston to Baxter line extension. Whilst there is already a diesel service that runs on the Stony Point line, which is where Baxter Station lies on, because of its infrequent service, the purpose of this project is really to increase frequency from Frankston to Baxter. This is going to be done by the electrification and duplication of the line all the way up to Baxter, which will also include new stations in Frankston East and Langwarrin. In other words, you can kind of perceive this project as the alternative to Labor's level crossing free Frankston Line plan by 2029. Pretty much, you're either voting for that or for the Baxter Line extension, as both parties have only agreed to their respective proposal and neither have agreed yet to the other party's proposal. An interesting scenario regarding line electrifications is no doubt Labor's 2018 promise to electrify the network up until Melton and Wyndham Vale stations. The Liberals did put pressure on this in what was ended up being a response from Daniel Andrews stating that this project cannot be undertaken until 2028 due to the need for logical extensions and improvements to railway network. So this proposal, whilst promised in 2018, is still slightly relevant as nothing has been undertaken regarding it, and it is still technically at this stage a proposal. In addition, this would also include station upgrades, level crossing removals, and 9-car velocities up until Melton. So this would definitely be a huge bonus for the West if this does get undertaken. And finally, for this section, we talk about the Melbourne Airport Rail Line. Whilst this actually isn't a proposal but a project already under works, the point of debate is how the terminus of the line will be built. Labor announced that they propose an overground terminus, whereas the Liberal Party and Melbourne Airport seem to oppose that. As a result, this oddly enough is technically debate regarding line extensions in this election. Now let's take a look at miscellaneous policy. Announced weeks out from the 2022 election, the Liberals claimed they would cap the daily metropolitan fare for all train, tram and bus services at $2, and for anyone that pays cheaper fares such as concession holders, their fare would be capped at a $1 daily rate. The Liberals claimed this would save about, on average, $3,500 per year per family, but it is expected to cost roughly $1.3 billion to the taxpayer in order to subsidise this proposal. However, being that some family members and others tax money will go towards the subsidy, will families actually be saving $3,500 per year on average? Well, I don't know, and I highly doubt it. In addition, the Liberals claimed that they would also halve all V-Line fares, and that if your train was replaced by a bus, you would travel for free. Although I assume that this is only if there's a partial bus for a rail connection, as usually bus replacements are free travel anyway, as there are no marquee scanners on the bus. But they technically have not specified how this will work, so honestly, who knows? It is no doubt crazy to see how much effort has gone into policy making surrounding public transport, and in particular the trade network. Who would have thought public transport would have had such an important impact on the election, and is no doubt one of the biggest issues concerning voters. Who knows who will win, and only time will tell. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this little summary on train policy from both major parties entering the 2022 election. And I think we'll leave it at that. Cheers.